So I am very passionate about EAP, Employee Assistance Programming, and more so because there are little things in an EAP program that you may not think that you might need help with, but these are things that you're dealing with day to day. I do always remind my folks that EAP is something that we sort of minimize. We always think it's a check the box moment and it's things that our employer just provides us, but it is part of your total compensation and total rewards as an employee. So you have to think about it as your total holistic wellness package along with other services that you are receiving from your employer. Part of EAP is Employee Assistance Program. I like to focus on the assistance. Everybody thinks EAP is very focused on care counseling, stress and anxiety, and a direct access to a care counselor, which it is. That's very important. But sometimes you don't need that much or that level of care. Sometimes you just need some guidance, some resources, or just a phone number to call if you have a question. So I always like to bring that up because EAP can help you in those certain situations. First and foremost, I like to lay the groundwork of applicability in the EAP space. So Kim mentioned it before, it is open to you, yourself, and your family members. Our EAP definition really resides in household members as well. So if you live alone, it's you. If you live with a partner, it's you and your partner. If you live with you, your aunt, your neighbor, and their 5 kids, they're all covered as household members. I know it sounds a little ridiculous, but the nuclear family is a little bit different for everybody. And we like to make sure that if you are experiencing something, your entire household is experiencing that, right? If you're dealing with stress and anxiety or an injury or a disability that's taking you out, your entire household is dealing with that. That could be limited time you can spend outside with kids, limited time that you need to drive your child to maybe a daycare, maybe you can't get your pet to the park as often as you would like, things of that nature. So it is impacting everybody in your household. Additionally, the service runs on a calendar year, but it takes effect on per incident per household member. So I'm going to say that a couple different ways because it usually confuses folks. But it is, you can use services, and this is when you're talking about your counseling services, you can use those counseling services per incident, per household member, per year. So I always liken it to a calendar year. If we are in January and you are experiencing seasonal depression and you would like to call for a care counselor for some face-to-face sessions or virtual sessions, you would do that in January. If your daughter it's February and your daughter's boyfriend has broken up with her and she is distraught, she can call and receive her 3 face-to-face sessions. If your son's about to graduate from high school, it's June, you're dealing with stress and anxiety, you can call to receive your face-to-face sessions, and simultaneously he can call to receive his face-to-face sessions because he's not really sure what he's going to be doing come September. So that's how we like to think about the calendar year. It's not very limited. So you do have an ability to reach out several times for several different ailments, several different issues, but resources are available all the time. So EAP through ComPsych, which is our vendor, which is a world-renowned vendor that handles all of employee assistance program for many, many corporations. They have a very robust and self-guided journey on their website. They do also have an application. So when you self-initiate and create your own username and interface, that is not tagged to your employer. So that's important to know, right? So anything that you're putting out there, personal information or resources that you're looking up, that's not going to go back to your employer. We're trying to get rid of that stigma of mental wellness or trying to approach something with more mindfulness. Those things should never be held against you, and you should be able to work freely in that environment. And that's why these things are offered to you as well. I am going to share a quick document just to kind of give you an idea of all the things that are sort of included in what we would consider a overview EAP program. So let me know if you can see my screen. Can anybody see? It's not sharing. I could see that. Hold on. Let me go here. Apologies.
For time. Take your time.
All right. So you should be able to see it now. I hope that you do.
Yes, we do.
Perfect. So these are your EAP flyers that are available to you from your employer. You will have access to these flyers that will give you a little bit of a rundown of when you may want to reach out. On the bottom right-hand corner, I'll scroll down for you. It will give you your direct phone number, any credential information that you would need to access the information. This is important for you to know. You can always sort of save that in your phone if you would like to as well. But let's talk a little bit about situations where you can use your EAP, right? We understand that you would use those for your care counseling sessions if needed, per household member, per incident, per year. We went through that. But there are a lot of other things that happen in your life day to day that you may want to leverage an EAP for. Everyone laughs when I give these scenarios, but these are real life scenarios that people are dealing with, and you have to think about how they can impede your work and limit your productivity, right? Part of an EAP by your employer is that when you leave and clock out for the day, you still have peace of mind at home. And we're sort of hugging you after that so that when you come back in the next day, you feel refreshed and you feel like you can be your best productive self, because we're helping you try to navigate through some of those tumultuous times in your life, or just the additional resources you need to maintain some semblance of normalcy in your day to day. So there are a couple of components in the EAP space. We talked about care counseling. It goes a little bit further than that. On the website, you can actually gain access to mindfulness applications, breathing exercises, sleeping exercises, meditation. You can actually get information on maybe some resource groups in your area if you're experiencing any type of situation, or if you would like to just talk to a group of folks about maybe making some friends, joining a book club. Those are things that are available to you. So just trying to get your mind in a better spot. So it doesn't always have to be with a care counselor. You don't always have to talk to somebody, but those sources are available for you as well. We talk a little bit about financial information. There is a financial component to EAP. There is a number floating out there. I think it's in the 60% now, where most individuals that are dealing with stress, anxiety, or depression, about 62%, it's directly related to financial stress. So we always like to say part of an EAP isn't just about your mind, it's about making sure that your wallet is pretty good too. We're always worried about where our next paycheck is coming from, how we're going to pay those bills. There is a financial component in EAP that is very helpful. It's called Financial Connect. You can actually call and speak to a CPA. That maybe sounds a little silly, but there are a lot of things that come up in your day-to-day. If you're dealing out a college financial aid for your child, it can be very stressful. You might not really know what you're looking at. If you're just trying to do a little bit of budget planning, right? I have a trip coming up. I'd like to spend 2 weeks in Europe next year. Not really sure if I can swing it. Maybe I could sit down with somebody and work through a budget over the next 6 to 8 months and see if I can get myself into that situation and take that trip. And then even furthermore, a lot of people are thinking about, well, how much do I really need to retire? I don't know what that looks like. I could ask a financial advisor. It's usually a lot of money to sit down with somebody. And if I don't even really know where to start, that could be a little bit overwhelming as well. So you can call in and talk to certified CPAs on the line to ask some questions about, how should I start thinking about this? This is my salary and this is what my spouse makes. But these are our expenses. How much do I really need to save? And then there are a lot of other things like tax questions, which is always a great time of year for anyone. Or if you're really trying to figure out how to get out of debt, right? You got yourself in a little bit of a hole. You don't need to go full blown into bankruptcy, but now you're just trying to figure out, I got a lot of credit card debt, or I have a lot of medical bills. Like, how should I be thinking about working through those scenarios? There's lots of resources available to you, especially if you're dealing in medical bill space. A lot of resources to help you navigate how to talk to the hospitals, how to negotiate, like just giving some trigger points on how to negotiate a bill down with a hospital group or a medical organization. Those things that are resources and recommendations available to you as well. And then this is my favorite category, is the legal category. Again, people never think that they need these things, but they are available, and I'll give you a few scenarios. There's some obvious ones. Obviously, if you're going through a divorce or dealing with anything with a spouse or partner, and that is not ending well, or if you really think it's pretty amicable, but you want to just sort of a clean break, you can call and you're going to talk to legal advisors who are going to give you information and give you some recommendations and resources in your area that specialize in, let's just say, paternity issues or child issues. They would be able to provide you with that base level of information. Again, we talked a little bit about bankruptcy. If you get on the line with a CPA and they say, listen, this is a little far gone, you may want to talk to somebody in the legal department. They'll be able to make those connections for you as well. So it is interchangeable, which really gives you that seamless experience as far as the support that you need. There's a lot of other things that we don't think about. I always bring up you had a tree fall on the line of your property. And is it your tree? Is it your neighbor's tree? Do I have to clean it? Do they have to clean it? Is it on the town line? Did a town pole come down and hit the side of your garage? These are things that happen to everybody every day. And you don't really know where to go with this information. Usually you're picking up the phone and you're asking a family member, hey, what do I do here? You can call and receive some legal services for that, and ask some real questions. Even things like my identity got stolen. I'm not really sure where to go to next. I know I have this, my whole identity offering with my corporation, but now I'm dealing with some, stolen goods, and I think I may have a civil suit against somebody. You can ask those questions. Even just really, I don't call them silly, but just things that you wouldn't really think of. Like if you're renting a place and you have somebody that's maybe staying a little bit longer, or if you have dealing with some landlord issues and you just kind of want to know what your rights are, you can actually call and just ask those generic questions as well. And then all of this is encompassed by your online resources. So I've talked about this in all of these sections, but what's interesting about the CompPsych's online experience is, number one, it's journey based. So you can have two different paths. You will create something very targeted to if you are in need of a care counselor, right? We are in a very high stress, live in a very high stress environment, and if you need immediate help, that is accessible to you. If you're not really sure and you kind of just want to poke around, there's a whole nother journey in guidance resources online that allows you to sort of see what's available. If I myself would like to join a group that maybe walks or hikes in my area, they would be able to point me into a really good direction of where I should look for that. If I have a child with special needs and I'm looking just for some additional resources, they can give me some community resources or even some nationwide resources that will help me with my day-to-day. These are things that are happening in your coworkers' lives that are really causing them some stress or maybe anxiety during their day, right? I mean, we've all been there. We've been working our 8 to 4s or our 9 to 5s, and we're receiving text messages from the school or text messages from our children, or a text message from, a loved one that says, hey, I'm not really sure what to do with this. I just got this piece of paper in the mail, or I just got this medical bill. And, we're really doing all the things to help all the people in our lives that we love. It's also about taking care of yourself. So we want to make sure that you are taking that time to understand what your needs are, which is why CompPsych has now created sort of this really large resource of information. And you can really peruse through there for literally anything. Again, I talk about wellness, holistic mindfulness, exercise information, things that you might be interested in, maybe a dietitian, or you're just trying to get on a better diet path. There's lots of information on there as well. And at any point in time, you can call that 1-800 number and ask a question, which is even great, because if you're thinking, I didn't see anything on the site, or I just don't have the time, you do have the ability to pick up the phone and get that help and support that you need. So that's really EAP on a whole. There's so many things in that. I could give you a million scenarios. I think the most important piece is that you remember that this is offered to you. You have access to this, and you should consider using it for literally anything that you have a question on. I'm going to pause. I said a lot. I talk a lot. I talk really fast. Are there questions? This is a really small group. So if there's questions, I'm happy to answer anything that you want to poke a hole at or want to talk more about. And don't feel obligated. Do not feel obligated. We can always get questions from Kim if you want to ask in a safe space. That is okay as well. So just remember, you don't have to feel obligated to do that.
Anybody have any questions? Okay.
I'm going to ask a generic question. You don't have to answer. If you can raise your hand, did anybody know what EAP was before the conversation?
Natasha did.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah. See, I think thank you, Juanita. I think that's what's interesting is it's a missed opportunity, right? We don't highlight some of these offerings. And again, I can't stress this enough. And this is why this is why I say to Kim, I love this stuff so much. You forget that your employer invested in all of these things for you. They want you to use these programs so that you can feel better about your day. You can feel more calm about, coming in and giving us your very best while you're here. That's really the key. That's really the point, is to encompass you with all the support that we think that you need so that you can be 100% productive here for your employer, and then feel really good about when you clock out and you go like, I'm feeling good. I think I have everything sort of, as best as we can. I say that as best as we can. We have everything sort of organized. But if I feel like I'm kind of falling off a little bit, or I need to take a moment to breathe, I have a resource available to me. I don't have to go full blown into therapeutic care or see, somebody. I can probably just quickly go online, maybe do a quick breathing exercise, just kind of get myself reacclimated to my day. Like, just give myself a moment to breathe and be mindful, and then move on about my day. And it does work wonders. I will attest to that.
Jerry, do you have a question?
No, I was actually going to say yes. I knew about EAP in one of my previous building.
Perfect. So the other thing I really want to stress that Molly said in the very beginning is that, I think sometimes the people that don't know about it are one set, and then the folks that do know about it and are afraid their employer knows that they're calling. We have no idea. We get absolutely, we just get maybe reports that it's being used, but we have no idea who, when, what, where. So using it is not, your employer has no idea that you are using it. So we want people to know, like, this is a resource for you for anything. As Molly did a great job, I try really hard, and so does Krista, talking about it when you start, your first day here. And then we talk about it when we see someone struggling. But, we want everyone to know how important and how, a big benefit it is for you.
So I'll double down on the confirmation of eligibility. ComPsych does not take in information that says, oh, Molly Pierce, you work for such and such insurance company, and I see that you called in for this reason on this day. The information that gets sent to any employer, and this is our entire scope to any employer, is data in aggregate, which basically says for your employer in this area, in this geographical spot with this number of employees, it's very genericized to say, this is the topic that comes up more frequently, right? People that work in your industry, it's more frequent that, we're receiving anxiety calls about, overproduction or third shift issues, right? It's very genericized, and that's done for two reasons. First and foremost, and most importantly, we ensure that all of your information is kept separate from your employer. We don't do anything with your specific information that has nothing to do with us. It has nothing to do with your employer. That is private for you. It's treated as such. And secondarily to that, it's not good information to share with an employer, right? At that point is just for an employer to use that. What we instruct our employers to look at in that metrics and reporting and utilization is to say, listen, you've got a lot of, it seems like in your industry and what you focus on and what you all do, plus the influx of topics that are coming in, it seems like people are dealing with, changes in this scheduling. So that might be good information for you to have, Kim, a lunch and learn about, talking about changes in scheduling. How should we navigate that? All that does is give you some high level topics to potentially focus on, but it is never going to share any specific detail, data, elements of you, your experience, what you're asking, conversations, nothing, not even clicks to the site by way of Molly clicked here. None of that is available.
Like I said, use this benefit. It's a great benefit. And I think people forget we were going to have this in May, but we changed it to June. But May was Mental Health Month. And we want to just make sure people don't wait till May to call. They know that this exists all the time. And it's not just for mental health, it's for, so many topics, as Molly has talked about. So I actually use an example myself as I sent somebody there that was getting a runaround from the school district on their child with their E8, not E8, their E. Oh my God, now I can't even think of the name of it. My kid had it. Basically, their learning plan, because they were having a lot of trouble fighting with the school district, and the EAP helped them with an advocate, like finding an advocate to help them. So like things like that you don't realize, you can call the EAP to get help for. So does anybody have any questions? As we said, we make these nice and short, so you know a little bit about one benefit at a time, so that you're, understanding why we offer these and why they're so important. So does anybody have any questions, concerns, or want to know anything? All right, you guys have been wonderful.
Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
We really appreciate you doing it.
Thanks, Molly.
I have a
Thank you
question.
very
I'm sorry.
much.
Oh, wait,
Enjoy
hold
your
on. We have a
weekend.
question.
Oh, sorry.
Is the EAP is free to employees?
Yes.
100%.
Okay.
And your family members and your household members, actually, Molly explained.
Okay.
So keep that in mind, right? I always say to folks, keep that in mind. This is something that your employer has invested in for you. If you are experiencing something, anything, you can utilize those resources. But again, it's also for your household members. So I know for some of us who have like high school children or college children, they're dealing with their own set of issues as well. If they live in my house, sometimes I'm always like, you might want to pick up a call. I'm not sure how I can help you, but maybe you want to talk to somebody. Maybe you want to help navigate through, or, I just had a conversation about signing up for a first credit card. Like that might be a good opportunity to leverage a financial services to just say, like, what's the best one? What should I be thinking about? How should I consider that? Student debt. Like these are all real life situations. And everybody in your household is going to benefit from something at one point in time. So it is available to you at no cost for your employer.
Is there a brochure that shows exactly the services and what?
Yep, I can send that to you.
Okay. Thank
And
you.
we have it online too. Yeah, we can send that. And like I said, we'll have this up too on YouTube. So if you forget something, you can jump on the YouTube and look.